Поїхали дівчини, до добрий поза. Прийшли окупанти до нас в Україну, форма новенька, воєнні машини, та трохи поплавився їх інвентар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Російські танкісти сховались в кущі, щоб лаптем посьорбати довбані щі, та трохи у чах перегрівся навар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Приперли зі сходу до нас барани для восстановлення
великої страни.
Найкращий пастух баранячих отар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Їх доводи всяке озброєння різне, потужні ракети, машини залізні, у нас на всі доводи є коментар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Вони захопити хотіли нас зразу, а ми зачаїли на орків образу з російських бандитів, робить примар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Російська поліція справи заводить, там вбивцю рашистів ніяк не знаходить, хто винен, що в нашому полі глухар. Байрактар, Байрактар. Веде пропаганду кремлівський урод, слова пропаганди ковтає народ, тепер нове слово знає цар.
Байрактар.
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 Yes.
The Leaf Spring Army sends its regards.
Русский военный корабль. Предлагаю сложить оружие и сдаться. Русский военный корабль, иди нахуй.
Hello, everyone. I'm the Enforcer, and I'm accompanied by Enforcer Matt.
And good evening, folks. It's Enforcer Matt, and welcome back to day 662 of the news. And it's good to see you all once again. And Ukraine is running the Russians over, and we're running over fundraisers. I'm telling you.
And of course, we're going to be covering the past 24 hours of the news of the war in Ukraine on a Sunday night, meaning that it is, in fact, a Sunday fundraiser, the best night of the week on this channel, and not only that, for an amazing fundraiser. Tonight's fundraiser is for Razom for Ukraine, and it is an amazing nonprofit that has been doing a great deal of work. We've already raised nearly $1,600 in support of Razom, and we have a $3,000 goal tonight. We are doing truly unbelievable at the moment, getting this high this early in the stream, and I bet money. I would bet, well, I don't know about betting money. I've already put $100 in the fundraiser, but I would bet that we are going to reach $3,000 very quickly because so many of y'all are being so generous tonight to the fundraiser and to Ukraine and making sure to donate massive amounts, like the anonymous viewer who just threw in 120, absolutely slaughtering it. And also, we've gotten big news today. We've actually been able to see some of the impact of the Ukrainian drone attack from yesterday, because, of course, now today, the Russians are sneakily putting out a little bit of information showing the kind of damage that's happened. We've also seen the Ukrainian army literally running over Russian soldiers in their defensive positions in the very far northeast near the town of Stepove, which is close to Kupiansk. We're going to be covering all of that today in video and picture evidence, and I have to say, it is incredible and amazing to know that we are all here on such an impressive day. Some of y'all may have also noticed, as a quick side note, that our stream started about a minute or 2 minutes late tonight. Instead of starting directly at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, it started around 10:01, 10:02. The reason why is because we have been in a big rush today, because we have actually managed to put together the entire gun review set. It is now complete with the cameras, lights, and everything, and we are actually working on that today. We did our first filming today. We're going to be doing some more probably within the next 2 days, and we may have our first gun review out here in the very near future, maybe even by the end of this week, depending on how we do this. But y'all will actually have some videos to watch in the middle of the day again, and hopefully all of y'all will be really looking forward to that. But moving on into some...
Dang, and also, we just hit $2,000 even. The
Really?
LC must be in the Christmas spirit or something, because the fundraiser is going incredibly fast tonight. We're less than $1,000 away from goal.
We are literally $1,000 away exactly at this moment from the goal, and it's only 16 minutes in. Unbelievable. But really quickly, so that way we can make sure to keep up the momentum, I have to give you all a little bit of a warm-up before we get into the really big news in Stepove, where we got to see some of the impacts of the Ukrainian attacks from yesterday. Moving on out of Stepove, which I actually had to locate on Google Maps, we are going to be going to the town of Morozovsk. Morozovsk is a very quiet town that nobody has ever really heard of inside of Russia, but it is home to one of the Russian airfields. And we can see here what a Russian airfield looks like. One of the best, actually, crazily enough. And let me show you all what it consists of. So, it consists of some ramps, if we want to call them that. Yeah, you know, they're kind of a little in bad shape. But we can see a multitude of aircraft here. We can see what appears to be an Su-34. We can also see an Su-24. We see another Su-34. And maybe another Su-34 or an Su-35. We can't really tell on that one. We can also see a wide variety of Russian aircraft here. Mostly they appear to be Su-34s of tactical bomber wing, along with some Su-24s. And down here, it looks like those might be Su-35, so some more modern Russian aircraft. But their base facilities are practically non-existent. I don't know what the hell this stuff is, fuel silos or something, but they are literally left in the wide open, just in a massive pit. We can also see over here...
You can't even tell looking at it if you're looking at an actual functioning base or the junkyard for the aircraft.
Yeah, this looks like absolute garbage. And look at their perimeter around the airfield. There's like no guard posts, there's probably no fence. I mean, this thing is really shoddy, and this is where the Russians are actually keeping some of their more advanced aircraft at the moment, but it looks like garbage. Let's compare that really quickly to, you know what, we're going to go over to the United States. Well, no, you know what, we're going to go to Rammstein, because everybody loves Rammstein, don't they? So let me go and find it, and let me just type it in real quick, so that way y'all aren't looking at me playing like find the needle in a haystack. Here's Rammstein Air Force Base, which is one of our more advanced bases in Germany, but, you know, well, it really is the most advanced. But as you can see here, it looks a lot better off. There's actual facilities at this base. There's also parking, which appears to be completely devoid at the Russian Air Force Base. We can also see that there's a large amount of ammunition storage depots that are inside of hardened shelters. So surprising, right? I mean, like, that is pretty nuts to see that the U.S. actually takes a little bit of time to spend a little bit of money to make things a little bit nicer. But moving all the way back into Russia, just as a side note, to give you all a side-by-side comparison of a top-notch Russian airbase compared to a top-notch U.S. airbase, this was apparently hit by some drones, and we got a picture showing that one of the Su-34 fighter bombers ended up being peppered by a Ukrainian drone that blew up on the net right above the aircraft. We can see some light damage here to the ailerons. Well, not the ailerons, the elevators. And we can also see the remnants of the drone that conducted the attack, kind of giving the Russians a pretty good idea of what really happened. But still, great to see. And also, it looks like there's a message on here. It says, Privyet, which means hello, Kazabon, something, Rika or something like that. But nevertheless, it looks like they put a little message on the drone, and it looks like the message was received by the Russians because they took a picture of it and then showed it to the world, showing that apparently Russian air bases are truly as bad as they look on satellite pictures and have really no air defense around. Speaking of no air defense, it appears that if the Ukrainians were, say, the Lee's Spring Army, they would be able to not only get through the air defense, they'd be able to destroy it, because we've already gotten up to $2,200 on the fundraiser.
Let's go!
We are
I'm telling
less
you, let's
than
go.
$800 away from the goal. Are we about to do it in the first 30 minutes of the stream? I'm betting
Do it
that we
now.
are. Do it now! But anyways, moving on from that, and out of the area of inside of Russia. Well, actually, we're going to be inside of Russia for a little bit longer, because I forgot to tell y'all that another border raid is happening right now from the Freedom of Russia Legion. We got to hear that apparently another push is happening into Belgorod. This is according to a telegram, that is talking about the situation, and here's what it says. We report the Legion's assault groups completed all assigned tasks and successfully returned to the territory of Ukraine. Propagandists have, quote-unquote, no losses in any unclear situation. Write down what really happened. Today, December 17th, the assault troops of the Freedom of Russia Legion entered the Belgrade region of the Russian Federation, destroyed the platoon stronghold of Putin's troops near the already familiar Terabrino, completed their tasks, and have already returned. Photos and videos will come later once we catch our breath, because it was quite a sprint. I mean, they are out of breath. They're even giving Usain Bolt a run for his money. But there's the next part. P.S. On the way back, we left an interesting puzzle for the specialists of Putin's engineering troops. Go ahead and update your minefield maps. PPS-H. And to all the Kremlin tongues writing about the Ukrainian DRG, once again, for the stupid, we explained we are Russian volunteers, and we have the right to come home at any time, especially for a good purpose. Skullface, become a part of the Legion, subscribe to the channel. And you can become a part of the Lee Spring Army if you subscribe to this channel. I'm, not trying to plug it or anything, just saying. Nevertheless, it is great to hear that they were able to once again head on into Belgrade and just take a little bit of a look around. And we love to hear that, of course, because it's always keeping the Russians a little bit on their toes and possibly diverting some of their attention and efforts into that area of Russia, onto the border instead of into the front lines inside of Ukraine. But moving on from that little bit of news, we have no more international news to cover, and it's now time for us to get on into the raw, unmitigated juice. And when I say juice, we got straight up juice, orange juice, inside of Location Unknowns. Some pretty interesting little clips, including this drone that was on its way to Moscow yesterday. We got the video today, and here it is. And also, the Angry Birds music is playing over it, so instead of playing the Angry Birds music and getting a copyright, I'm just going to play the song another way. But there goes the drone.
Oh no, they're putting the logo up and everything.
No.
What are they thinking?
The legal team is on the way. We are going to be screwed, but that's the end of that clip. Very nice to see one of the drones that was involved in the attack. Moving on from that into our next clip, we also got to see a Ukrainian ground drone, or more so a wheeled drone, with a machine gun. Pretty cool, if you ask me.
That's like the thing the Russians were using to like transport people off the battlefield that were injured, and it looks like Ukraine's added a machine gun, which is obviously a lot cooler.
It does look pretty cool. I gotta admit, pretty drippy. And look at it go. Wow, impressive. Wow, absolutely fantastic.
I don't know what kind of range that thing has on it. Is it gas or electric?
I don't know.
Looks like it's gas. I saw some smoke coming off of it.
Well, you never know, Matthew. It could just be a bad battery. It could be a Samsung battery, you know. But we can see the little drone moving around. Doesn't really appear like the machine gun has a stabilizer built onto it, which would probably be pretty expensive to do. We see it
They're
rolling.
trying to get it stuck. They're driving it right through the mud.
Man, they're like, how mobile is this thing? But that's the end of the clip. Just showing off a little bit of the machine gun drone. Hopefully that'll be effective and usable in the field. I bet it would, at least for the element of surprise of getting a machine gun where the Russians wouldn't expect a machine gun. And that's kind of a big thing, you know, to, you know, have people think, oh, the Ukrainians are over there. And then you get shot from a machine gun from another direction and you go, oh, the Ukrainians are also over there. Although they really aren't. It's just a little drone. But speaking of drones, we have nothing but drones tonight, y'all. And I've got to tell y'all, this is one hell of a drone. This thing is called the Cobra, and it looks to be fairly large. It's also an attack drone. It appears they put an RC motor on the front of it, and we don't really know much more than just the shape of it, the look of it, and also the absolute cool factor of it. It's pretty cool. I like the rivets. Makes it look like a World War I era tank, and hopefully it'll be very effective out there on the front lines, and will be smacking Russians around much like the Russians get smacked around at home. We're now going to be moving on from that little bit of location unknown news and on into our next bit, where we got to see a state-of-the-art Russian electronic warfare system. There it is.
Oh, high tech, I'm telling you.
High tech. I have to say, very top of the line Russian engineering, blade. We can see here, it appears to be some kind of a maybe old Wi-Fi router that's been covered in dirt and is most likely unusable. We can also see right over here, they put a cross on it. And also some words, but I cannot tell you what those words mean, very sadly. In the next picture, we can see the kind of like the cat toy that they put on top of it, whatever the hell this is. You could cook popcorn in that thing. And, oh, look, it actually give us the translation here in the last picture. Let us take a read. Alive in the help of Vishnoto, and in the blood of the heavenly God he will dwell, says the Lord. So wait a minute, hang on. They put a whole entire, like, verse on the side of this electronic warfare system?
That was an interesting choice to put on the side.
Yeah, I mean, dude, what if the Amish saw this? Like, dude, the Amish should be, like, violent right now. But anyways, very interesting to see their electronic warfare system. And I have a feeling that this thing is probably only going to work on thoughts and prayers based off of how it looked. So moving on from that and into our next bit of news, we also got to see that the Ukrainians are taking some time to start melting ice into water because, you know, getting drinking water is sometimes difficult, and it's always important to have a good supply of it. So check it out. I know what song that is. That's the one that's we go or whatever the hell it does. Anyways, but you see him poking it with a knife, kind of like I do Icy.
And also, Enforcer, can you see my name in the chat, by the way?
No. What is YouTube doing? But
so let's see. I've been talking this entire time, and nothing's been coming through to the chat because I'm looking at the control panel, and my stuff is not popping up. That's kind of weird.
Wow, YouTube's gone and shadow banned our boy Enforcer Matt. He's literally here and not here at the same time. It is Schrodinger's co-host. Is he on air or is he not? The answer is he is, but he also is not. But while hopefully that situation gets fixed, we're now going to be moving on from that interesting clip of them getting some potable water. And we're now going to be moving on into our next little bit of news in our location unknowns. But before we do, hopefully Matthew can get this situation solved, because now everyone's like, where is Enforcer Matt? And Matthew, I feel like we need to pull up that North Korean song, Where Are You, Dear General, and start playing it, you know, like they do in the mornings in North Korea.
I am right here. Let's see if it works now. Well, I'm not seeing it. Oh, what's going on, YouTube? I'm telling you, we can't have this kind of stuff.
Oh, man. YouTube being YouTube, y'all all know what it is. Oh, you. But anyways, moving on from that, we're now moving on into our next little bit of news, where we got to see the Russian casualty report. Why don't y'all take a look at these bad boys?
Oh my god!
Oh!
Well, look, I got banned out of the chat by my own doing. I have no idea why, but we got 4 Bobcats. Yeah.
Let's get it! And also get your partner our photo protection bracelet. But moving on from that, 4 Bobcat skid steers have been knocked out. We also saw that 4 anti-aircraft systems were destroyed, which is a very impressive number. But you know, we're beating around the bush a little bit. Much like the Russians who ended up getting blasted inside the bushes today. Apparently 1,250 of them were lost over the past 24 hours. A fairly significant number. We can't even really hide the fact that that is a lot of Russian soldiers. You know, think about that in terms of how many units that would be. That is at least a battalion tactical group and a half, or even more. We also saw that they lost a whopping 25 armored personnel carriers. We also saw that they lost 56 supply trucks, 19 tanks, 37 artillery systems, 40 drones, 3 MLRSs, and 1 cruise missile. All in all, these losses are some of the highest we've seen here recently, and are certainly showing once again that they are doing quite well. And Matthew is in the chat, baby! Let's go!
Now, you want to know apparently what happened?
What happened?
Something has been tampered with in our control panel because I was not listed as a moderator. That's kind of weird.
What?
I was totally removed from the list, and I also noticed that one other person that we had listed as well was removed from the list.
Huh. That's
Kind
interesting.
of odd, I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's odd. And also that's really odd too, because we are the only people who can get into the channel because we, you know, have all of the security features in place. So if anyone logs in from anywhere, I always get notified immediately that someone is logged in on any device. So that's interesting to hear because I didn't do that. And I know you didn't remove yourself as a mod, Matthew. So that is a little bit concerning, a great concern. We're going to have to look into that a little bit more, but interesting, very interesting.
Very interesting.
Very, very interesting. Interesting indeed, I would have to say. I mean, you know, there's something right there for sure. But with that, speaking of, you know, very interesting, the Cashy report is also very interesting as well. Quite high. And I have to say, beautiful to see. We're now going to be moving on from that little bit of news in the Russian Cashy report. And it's now time for us to move on into some other bigger and more pressing parts of Ukraine, specifically the area around Sinkivka today, where we saw the Russians attempt an offensive and the Ukrainians apparently smacked it down like some kind of a fly going towards a flame, or a moth to a flame, better yet. But nevertheless, we have to talk about this fundraiser. It has now been 31 minutes, and we have reached $2.5 thousand on the fundraiser. And I think it's time for a general order. Order! It is time for a general order. If you have $5 to throw it in right now. I too will be throwing in a donation as a part of this general order. I don't even remember the numbers anymore. I think it's like general order number 29, but general order number 29 is now in effect. If you have $5 to throw it in right now. If you want to throw in more than $5, you can. But if you consider yourself a member of the Leaf Spring Army and you can donate to the fundraiser, now is the time to do it. We are only $500 away from the fundraiser goal. And I know one thing, the Leaf Spring Army is going to get it, baby. Get it.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
But with that, we're going to let this general order go ham. And while it goes absolutely ham, I'm going to give you all some exciting news from the area of the Northeast. In the northeastern area of our front lines inside of Ukraine, we saw that over the past 24 hours, the Russians have been attempting to make some movements towards the village of Sinkivka. When we look at the deep state map, we can see that over the past 24 hours, they have not been able to make a lot of movements, and in fact, it does appear that they may have slightly been pushed back just by a little bit. But nevertheless, the Russians are trying to conduct an offensive towards Sinkivka. Sinkivka is one of the villages that is down the country road that would lead towards Kupiansk and take you home to West Virginia, the place where I belong. But on top of that, the Russians and the Ukrainians are fighting very toughly in this area over the past few days. And we have seen that the Russians have still continued to try and take the town, but not that well. Let me try and get y'all to one of our first clips of the Russian attack towards Sinkivka, which we have right here. We can see the Russians advancing in their APCs. We can also see a couple of that have already been knocked out. And we can see right there, well, we can see for a minute. Y'all can see it right over on the right side of the screen. There goes an ATGM. We can see one of them get hit and the first one get hit as well, with little chunky bits flying into the air. It appears that the rear APC has been destroyed completely, and it appears that the first one is now moving out of control under no guidance from the driver, and it looks like crew members are bailing out at this very moment.
Hey, we had goal.
Let's get it, baby! We have hit $3,000. Absolutely amazing. And of course, I would say that the fundraiser is not over at this moment, but tonight we are going to make a little bit of an exception. During the entire month of December, we're actually lowering our fundraiser goals by about $2,000 a piece because Christmas is a very expensive time of year for everyone. Usually people are out buying gifts, and usually there's a lot of strain on folks' pocketbooks, and it's completely understandable, and we do not want anyone to feel pressured to stretch themselves beyond what is even capable for anyone for that matter. And so we are lowering our fundraiser goals for that reason. And so if y'all want, everyone can take a break, pat each other on the back, and say that we've done it again, and the Lee Spring Army has once again blown through another goal. If y'all want, y'all can still keep fundraising for it, but nevertheless, we have reached the goal for the night, and the Lee Spring Army has done its duty. Moving on from that, it is nice to see that these little Russian APCs were knocked out, because this small attack towards the area of Sinkivka is showing that the Russians are taking very high losses before they even enter the village. They were able to enter the village for a small amount of time today, but it was not for long. We can see that the 30th Brigade took some time to take out some of the Russians in this area with their drones. And check it out. We can hear probably the absolute dog water music that I've ever heard, but we can see the drone flying over the trench where the Russians appear to be hiding out. We see a lot of felled trees over it. We can see the drone trying to find a target. It looks like they found a few moving around right there. And we can see them drop the bomblet and kabooey right into the entrance.
And also, Enforcer, I don't mean to worry you with a cybersecurity problem right in the middle of the stream, but now your chats aren't popping up.
That's interesting. Well,
I be having a slew of bugs here all of a sudden for some reason.
Well, there's no way I can't be a moderator because I own the channel. So let me try and see if it's working for me on my end. Do y'all see that?
I saw that one.
Okay, so it is working. I think it may just be maybe something on your end. I'm not really sure.
Maybe. I guess so. There's that one. Never mind. It's actually working now. It's weird.
Everyone said hi. Oh, hello. Oh my God! The anonymous viewer threw in a 250. Blowing it out of the water.
Let's go.
Get it. I don't know why I said it like that, but we can see the bomblets still lining up and going on their way. And I see you, LSA. I see every single one of you in the live chat. Y'all are absolute legends, absolute kings, and I thank y'all for being here tonight. I see you. And you see me, but we can see that the 30th Brigade sees the Russians, and they're blasting them pretty effectively. And look at it go. Look at them go. And with that, that's the end of that clip. The 30th Brigade was very effective with those little drone attacks, but they were more so effective with the tank. You see, they whipped out a tank because the Russians had gotten into the village. They just started to bulldoze the houses that the Russians were in with the tank. You don't see this kind of stuff on TV. And there they go. They're just going to mow down the house. Russians, in there and everything. And we can see the tank moving on, and we can see the Russians trying to leave, but I have a feeling that the tank is making sure to be on a special bulldozing operation. It even looks like they added a plow to this tank, so that way they could be used more effectively. This Russian is trying to hide. We don't know how effective that is going to be.
He can crawl, but he can't hide.
Cruel! Cruel! But the tank is still rolling around doing its thing. Magic Force said, I think someone is messing with your chat. I don't know, maybe they are. Or it could be YouTube, you know, because YouTube does YouTube things, you know what I mean? But let's see here. I'm just going to type in a little message. Let's see. Do y'all see that? Do you?
Let's see. Nope, it's not popping up.
Well, what do you know? What do you know?
That's kind of weird. What's going on out here? I'm telling you. First, let's go check the list and see if you're on a list here. There's not permitted to chat.
Let's see here.
Let's see. I was kicked out of your account.
Uh-oh.
What is going on?
Oh, that's
okay,
interesting.
I'm back in.
1 second, everyone. I'm sorry about this. There are some cybersecurity issues going on right now in the middle of our stream. So we are trying to see what is going on, so everyone just stand by, hold tight. We're going to try and see if we're getting hacked right now by a super hacker, man.
Let's see here. So Enforcer tried chatting again.
LSA, I put an LSA in the chat.
I saw it that time.
I think it might be on YouTube's end.
Could be. I hope so.
I hope so as well. Because I'm going to be a little freaked out if it's not on YouTube's end. And I'm telling you what, if it's a hacker, there's going to be hell to pay. You know, like I'm talking about the toupee on the hair. You know what I mean? But anyways, we got to see these Russians getting run over, and that was really the big news of the night. Is that the Ukrainians are actually just running Russians over to stop their offensive in the area. But we also saw that they brought in some Mi-17s to fire off some Hydra rockets and make sure that they are, you know, doing their thing. We can see it firing off the rockets and the chaff.
Oh, and also, by the way, Ryan Peacock said, make sure the fundraiser money is secure, please. That goes 100% through YouTube on their end. Our channel doesn't touch it. We don't touch it, and that goes solely through YouTube. So that's totally secure.
Yeah, that's completely secure. That's the only thing. Well, actually, that's not the only thing. The super chats are also secure as well. Everything monetary-wise that goes through YouTube is completely secure and functions through YouTube itself. But with that, that's the end of that little clip right there, and pretty impressive to see. It's also showing us that the Ukrainians are whipping out all the stops to make sure the Russians make no progress in this area of the front line. We're now going to be moving
Enforcer, on. I hate to say this, but I think the people in the chat are correct. I'm not sure if we need to pause the stream or what, but I think you need to change your password immediately because I have a bad feeling.
Well, I'm going to have to end the stream if we did that, probably, because I'm going to have to pull up a lot of stuff on my main screen here, or on the second screen.
I think if I were you, it's totally up to you, but I would play it safe and do that now because something definitely is going on, because something else has been changed in the control panel in the moderator section, and we have added back a person that was missing a second ago, so something's going on.
All right, well, let me see if I can change that while keeping y'all all live on air, and just do this on the second screen. So if everyone can just stand by for a minute, we're going to try and fix this as best as we possibly can. So give me just a moment, everyone, and let me try and figure out how to change a password because I haven't been able, I really haven't done that at all. So let's see here. I know this isn't the exciting content y'all were looking for. And Matthew, I'm going to have to be entirely honest with you. I wouldn't know how to change the password right now off the top of my head because it's not something we normally do. So, that is what it is. A lot of y'all are saying to end the stream. A lot of people are saying to change it on the phone. It's I don't really know what to do right now because, it's already stressful enough as it is to try and run a stream and try and keep everything going on in my head so I can cover the news accurately. It's a whole other thing when we add another layer and I've got to start trying to go through and work on security while running a stream. So, don't really know what we're going to do right now, so I'm just going to sit around and let people tell me what to do. So what do y'all want?
Well, Enforcer, it's up to you.
Well,
if I was you, I'd pause the stream, have to end it if you need to, because if somebody's in the control panel doing stuff, that could devastate the entire channel.
But the thing is, though, is that they can't be, because if they were, we have two-factor authentication, and every time anyone logs in anywhere, I get an email, and I'm not getting an email right now saying that anyone's logged in and is this you before we allow them in. Like, you know.
I mean, it's up to you, man. It's up to you. I'm just giving you the information.
I think there are glitches on YouTube's end, because there's no way for anyone to log in. They send me an email and ask me what number is displayed on the screen of the computer that's trying to log in right now, and you're not even able to get in unless you get that number correct. So, you know, going off of that, nobody can be in the account at the moment, or otherwise there's a huge security breach on Google's end that we have no idea about. And probably wouldn't change even if we did try and fix the password right now.
It's up to you.
Well, I don't know, because, you know, give us just a moment, everyone. I'm actually going to throw up an intro card here for a minute, and we're going to try and figure this out behind the scenes. So everyone just give us just a moment, and we'll be right back. All right, everyone. After going back behind the scenes, we are actually going to have to, unfortunately, end the stream early tonight due to cybersecurity issues. We'll, of course, be back on Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time to cover the next 48 hours of the news of the war in Ukraine. And if y'all want to see what has been happening on the front lines in Ukraine over about the past 24 hours, you can always go in the link in the description below and click on the map and check it out yourself. Because beyond that, we will not be able to run the stream later on tonight because there's going to be nobody here and we don't get a second notification from YouTube and we don't really know what's going on right now. So with that, I will see you all on Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time to cover the next 24 hours of the news and the war in Ukraine. Of course, I want to thank all of y'all once again for getting the fundraiser up to $3.6 thousand already in about 47 minutes. That's absolutely amazing and absolutely fantastic. And I got to thank y'all all once again for helping us out. And so with that, good night and take care. And we'll see you all next time.
All right. Good night, folks. Sorry to have to end early, but we'll see you all on Tuesday night. And huge thanks for the fundraiser once again. And
The Leaf Spring Army sends its regards.
Смотри!